The Brooklyn Nets are coming off a 12-game win streak that has them sitting just one game out of the top seed. And in the month of December, they led the league in offensive rating, scoring over 121 points every 100 possessions. Now, while many have claimed the mid-range shot to be a lost art, they've weaponized it in such a way that we've never really seen, implementing modern principles to an old-school style to score more efficiently than anyone. Of course, it helps when you have Kevin Durant on your roster, who's gotten so extraordinarily good at scoring in this area that I'm not sure a best ever discussion even exists anymore. According to Thinking Basketball's database, Durant's taking just under 12 mid-range shots every 75 possessions, the second most of any player, and he's hitting them at an extremely efficient 60% clip, which is absolutely absurd. For reference, the average mid-range shot is about 42%, or 0.84 points per attempt, which explains why for most players, this shot is all but dead. But for Durant, things are a little bit different. See, the league's best half-court offense generates 1.09 points per possession, and KD is scoring 1.2 points per mid-range attempt. Just incredibly efficient offense that his size and unique skill set allows him to create at will. He's listed at just a hair under 6'11" without shoes, with one of NBA history's longest wingspans at 7'5", that gives him a virtually unguardable release point, at times making it look effortless as he shoots right over the top of defenders with ease. Jalen Smith is a 6'10" big, getting right in his grill as he faces up in isolation, but for KD that's just a warm-up. He's capable of getting a decent quality shot seemingly whenever he wants, even when extra defenders are sent. Notice how Bogdanovich leaves his man to provide another body as he hunts for a shot, rotating well to cut off the baseline, and there's just nothing else you can do. Unless timed perfectly, he'll just rise over anyone. Even when his matchup has the length to get a hand up, they have to react with lightning quick speed. And even if they are able to get a great contest, he's one of the best difficult shot makers we've ever seen. It also helps that he can create these looks in just about any way you can think of due to his ability to pull up off the bounce. He's got one of the smoothest off the dribble jumpers ever. Regardless of momentum, he can just stop on a dime and quickly pull the trigger at any moment and from anywhere on the floor. He's currently taking about 8 pull-up middies a game, second in the league, and again hitting them at an obscene 61.3%. It's not like these are easy either. He'll knock them down while moving in any direction, off balance, fading away, and with added contact. This of course makes him a nightmare to cover in the pick and roll, absolutely torching softer coverages with routine jumpers off the bounce, rejecting screens with the same result, or attacking more aggressive coverages as he patiently waits for his chance to strike. This year more than ever, he's also been getting into the shorter mid-range for floaters and little push hooks, helping him to a career-high 59.2% from 3 to 10 feet away from the basket. His bread and butter, though, is of course perimeter isolation, where he can blend that unrelenting pull-up shot making with phenomenal shot creation to get his own look at will. Even at age 34, he remains extremely agile for his size, getting really low as he attacks to serve as a sort of supersized guard. That length allows him to throw some really exaggerated moves and cover tons of ground as he changes directions, and again, all he needs is the slightest bit of space. Here he isolates against the bigger Jarrett Allen, keeping him on his toes as he spams crossovers to inch towards the nail, and once he gets to that spot, it's just too quick of a trigger to get a good contest. He loves to use hesitations like this. That threat of him pulling the trigger at any moment allows him to catch defenders off guard with fakes and pauses before attacking other spots, often tossing these in with lethal crossovers and in and outs to break down his man one-on-one. When loading up, he'll often go to a step back or spin move for some added separation before the release, and with downhill momentum, he'll just slam the brakes instead, often using the classic jump stop to shed his man. And even when they stay with him, he'll find ways to create a good look out of thin air, even without his dribble, with the use of pivots, spins, or rip-throughs. Here attacking the front foot of Reddish with that explosive crossover, faking the pull-up as he stops to get him in the air, and bringing it to the the outside hip where he can comfortably knock it down. This sort of standstill game has become a staple in his attack. I earlier mentioned how he can just shoot right over the top of most defenders, creating more space for himself with the use of jabs and pivots as he keeps the ball high so he can quickly release. When facing up like this, he'll often put the ball down for 1 or 2 dribble pull-ups, utilizing his signature rip-through to explode into these. He can also turn his back to the basket and play out of the post, where he boasts an absolutely lethal post fade while turning over either shoulder, often electing to go baseline. He's even got the Dirk Nowitzki one-legger in his arsenal, or he can use spins to flow right into more quick pull-up jumpers. In these isolations, defenders also have to constantly worry about not fouling him. Despite not getting to the rim nearly as much, he's attempting just over 7 free throws a game, the second most since his MVP season almost an entire decade ago, and he's making them at a career 93.3%, basically guaranteeing points. He's great at initiating, drawing, and selling contact as he goes for jumpers or floaters across the lane, and he essentially eliminates the option of active hands entirely because of the rip through or swinging into a shooting motion. Brooklyn often gets him into these isolations through off-ball movement. One of their go-to actions starts with him under the basket, coming off a pin down to the free throw line and receiving an entry where he can quickly ISO from the middle of the floor with tons of room to operate. He can also shoot right off the screen when it's there, as he's super effective on the move, and because of the height on his release, even the smallest delay, mishap, or miscommunication leads to a free 2 points. His movement is real smart, knowing exactly where to float for easy passing angles and relocating into open space for quality jumpers. Bogdanovic is expecting him to come around this dribble handoff, so he overplays it, leaving a back door for KD to flow right into one at the nail. Dribble handoffs create the same coverage issues that teams run into in the pick and roll, except now you're dealing with more movement. The Nets will even toss in some extra screens to give him that much more room. The initial contact from O'Neal puts heart in pursuit, and once that position is established, there's just nothing left to recover and actually bother the shot. He can also play the role of a screener himself, often in the 2-man game with Kyrie to set up easier attack angles. This is a pick and pop where Irving's own threat as a pull-up shooter forces a moment with 2 to the ball and KD on an island. All it takes is that small window to rip through and catch his man off balance before pulling back into a jumper. He's one of the best ever at quickly attacking off the catch or at closeouts like this. Scrambling against him is basically a death sentence for any defense, as he'll find those gaps and explode into them for what else but quick trigger pull-ups. If the analytical boom in recent NBA history has taught us anything, it's that getting to the rim or generating a high quality look from 3 are the most effective methods at generating efficient offense. Yet, over 61% of Durant's field goal attempts are coming in that mid-range area, and he's having the most efficient scoring season of his career at 68% true shooting. The reason this is possible is because he may just be the best shot maker the game has ever seen. As you can see, he's taking extremely difficult shots, but both on and off the ball, he just makes them at such a high level that he's able to live off of this diet and produce a historic profile as a scorer. These metrics come from Basketball Index, a site that provides tons of statistical measurements, tools, and easily accessible graphics to further guide your understanding of the sport. They offer talent grades on pretty much any aspect you can think of, and through their Player Profiles tab, I can easily compare them to other players around the league. Using Durant's efficiency as an example, on this page I'm presented with various metrics detailing his productivity as a scorer, along with how he stacks up against his peers. This is just one of the many useful tools found on the site that help guide me and many others through their analysis, and by signing up with the code VENUE30, you can get 30% off your first month subscription. I'll leave a link in the description below for anyone interested in signing up. And with that being said, if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn my post notifications on to be first on more content. If you're interested in my more in-depth research, make sure to check out my website and social media profiles. You can find those links in the description. Feel free to let me know down in the comments what you think of Durant and just how good you believe he is. As always, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.